Hey Shane, welcome to Virtual Days.
Hey, thanks, Joe. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. Now, I ask all speakers this for some reason. When you create a session, is there one takeaway you think people should get from your session you think really would help them in 2020?
I think there is. I think first thing to remember is for Micro Focus, a lot of the people that are in your user group remember us from HP and HPE. Now we're Micro Focus. We're still innovating in our products, and the world's changing, and we've changed our products to support the needs you have.
Absolutely. So I'm coming up. I'll be honest. I'm coming at this from a beginner's mind. I'm kind of new to the ITOM solution. Is ITOM new in general? Did it come out in 2018? Is that correct?
So the ITOM term may be a new one, IT
Ah,
operations management.
yes.
It's what we call our internal group, but our tools, have our 30-year history with, where we invented network management and server management at HP, and then brought these tools forward, and of course continue to do new releases all the time. We released products actually in ITOM, I think 100 of them last year.
Yeah, it sounds like there's an extra layer though of microservices now that kind of unifies all these solutions that may have been around for a bit to make it more streamlined for folks.
Yeah, one thing we've done over the last 3 years is we said before we had integrated our products together, there was service management and there was, event management, and we said, oh look, here's an integration. But as we transformed into this next generation, we said, why don't we take a look at how we want people to use our products and how they can automate our products, which led us to create a series of REST APIs for all the products. So generally, anything you can do within the services, you can do through automation. And then we started, and to have those, we had to decompose our monolithic products into smaller services so people could get it. So that's why we've created a lot of microservices and containerized delivery models.
Awesome. So Shane, we have a first question, and the first question is, why do you believe hybrid IT is the most important IT trend going into 2020, in your opinion?
Yeah, for me, it's pretty easy because one thing I've looked at is a lot of trends over time and what people have to do to implement even the trends that are coming from the industry. And almost always that leads to a solution that IT must implement that includes both on-prem and off-prem components. For example, let's say marketing's running a new campaign and they want to make sure that the right people are hitting the site and the right transactions are happening. They might outsource some of the website tracking to somebody like Adobe who specializes in that. And then they have the on-site data of what transactions happen, and they have to merge those together to make a solution. And so that's why no matter where people say trends are coming from in business transformation or digital transformation, in the end, the final, I'm going to say the final solution being delivered almost always includes on-prem and off-prem components, which is what hybrid IT is. So we just have to realize it's part of everything we do, and it's part of everything we're going to do this year and next year.
Absolutely. And Shane, another thing you mentioned was you mentioned many times was self-service provisioning. I actually worked for a large enterprise, and they kind of frowned on this. They had like these silo teams that you had to go to get things done, and it really slowed down the DevOps transformation. Is this something you've seen more and more enterprises embracing, or a way to help succeed more with DevOps?
I'd say I see more enterprise and embracing. I think there's still a lot of organizations that have those processes in place where you go to one group, to request having a VM, you go to another group to get an operating system, and you keep going and going, and
Yeah,
finally you get something you can actually start consuming. And sometimes that's a governance issue, and sometimes it's just historic issues. And I think now, if you look at modern tools, you can actually have some governance in there, but also automate and streamline that. So people just have to start transforming their organizations, take advantage of what they can do, and keep up with DevOps, as we talked about.
absolutely. Shane, next question, and they want to know: do we have to replace our old HP products with Micro Focus products? I guess it's a good question because you said some of these solutions have been around for a while. You have newer solutions. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the first thing to keep in mind is if you have so HP, spun out the software group to Micro Focus. So we're the same internal group, same teams that were there under a different name. But the tools you have, if they're working, great, you should keep using them. And even if they're HP logo. But I will say we spend, how about, let's say, since the spin out to Micro Focus, we spent hundreds of $1 millions investing in our products, R&D, getting new features. And you'll probably want to upgrade to the latest releases just to take advantage of the new features.
Absolutely. So Shane, another question we have here is, let's get to it. It is, what do you mean by using existing non-Micro Focus tools with your tool set? It seems like because of the REST API, does that allow you then to hook into other solutions that may not be Micro Focus products?
Yeah, that does, because we look at it as there's a huge amount of knowledge and tools at any company already. Every company owns lots of tools, and to transform, what you have is you need to take those tools, you need to organize them. Is what we're talking about here as part of this. And what we want to do is leverage the knowledge and the tools and integrate them, as you just mentioned, Joe. We have integration APIs, we have integration tools, process automation tools, and bring that together so you've organized, you guys can't see my hands, but because I'm too close to the screen, but organize those into a stream, a value stream, so that the process is better, but you've leveraged a lot of the knowledge and tools you have. You supplement that in with some Micro Focus glue or some Micro Focus tools, but you focus on making that process more efficient.
Absolutely. And I love that trend. It's actually something I wrote down that came to my mind, that I love how you're not forcing people into a certain ecosystem, but you can use, you said, if you have your tools, you like them, you can use them. So it seems like a lot of integration going on. That seems like a great solution for sure. So along those lines, you also mentioned mainframes, and a lot of people don't think about mainframes until you work into a large enterprise. Yeah. Is mainframes seen as hindering a DevOps transformation, or does your solution also help with the mainframe being part of this new shift left, shift right type of
strategy? I think it often depends a lot on the company. But one of the things we can do at Micro Focus, and this is something that didn't come from HP, but came from Micro Focus, is the ability to transform those mainframe apps to, a distributed environment, run them, either in the public cloud or in your data center. But I think what people have to look at is the mainframe hindering their transformation, especially in DevOps? And if it is, you need to take a look at what some of the opportunities are to move that somewhere else, or just automate where it is. Even the Micro Focus tools, some people could look at them as we could use them to transform that mainframe COBOL app onto another platform, but we can also use it to integrate into that mainframe app and simply make it a step in the transformation, but not eliminate it. Just bring it in. So when somebody releases, maybe that puts up new code on the mainframe and is used in the final process. So both, I'm going to say, embrace and extend. Embrace by supporting what's there in the mainframe, but also letting people move it if they need.
Awesome advice. All right, Shane, another question, and they want to know, I'm switching to a cloud-first strategy. Does your product support this?
It does. And so I'll say all of our tools have cloud use cases. Be that, and people think of monitoring tools, right? And monitoring the servers, the networks, everything in the data centers, but they also have to manage and monitor, AWS or Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud Platform. So what we've done to our tools over the last couple of years is to make sure that where you think they might have been used, it's also been extended to the major public clouds. So I think a good example of that, earlier we talked about upgrading. And it might be one of the things you get from upgrading is that product that you have, when you upgraded it, let's say you were using our C&B product, you upgrade it to the new version, that new version can easily discover the public clouds. So sometimes you need to upgrade, sometimes you don't, but we have to look at your exact versions you have and what capabilities you're going to get to.
Great stuff. Shane, a question from Jim, and Jim wants to know, the names on the product still are shown with HP. Are the new names going to be updated soon? Any thoughts?
Jim, that's a great question. One of the things you'll see in, we have a set of releases that come out every quarter, and one of the things we've tried to do is make sure that they all say the new names, because in the past, and you'd think we would have cleaned this up a couple of years ago, but we're so focus on getting the new innovation and the technology out, that the names really haven't kept progress with where we're at. And so I think you'll see that we are syncing up the names with what you see in our marketing, with what you see in the products. They'll all say micro focus and then whatever it is. So you'll see that. But also keep in mind that even though in hybrid IT, I talked about things like service assurance. Well, service assurance actually translates down into multiple products, right? Some of that is our operations bridge products, which some of you may know as operations manager. And sometimes that assurance translates down into network operations management, which you might be using as network node manager. So we're trying to make sure that we make it easier for you as users to make that transition on the names.
Awesome. Shane, we have a question from Rocky, and I would think this is a fairly common question you get asked is, let me make this larger. How do you convince monolithic product owners to think holistically? Like you said, your solution seems to be working off microservices. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a tricky thing because people, we don't like to change, right? We like to kind of stay where we're at. And if you own a monolithic product, you're thinking, hey, that's my whole world. But then you actually just have to step back and say, how are people using it? How do people want to use it? And you realize that nobody is a standalone, monolith. We have a ecosystem around us that are feeding us data and taking data that we generate. And I think as soon as you start remembering that and visualizing the fact that no matter how big I think I am, I do not stand alone. I have people that count on me downstream, and I have people that give me data upstream. And as soon as you start thinking about that, you start finding ways to transform.
Awesome. So Shane, I want to respect your time. We're actually a little bit over. So before we go, is any parting words of wisdom you want to leave Vivint Virtual Days or ITOM users?
First of all, Joe, I want to thank you and Vivint for doing this. It's been great. And I want to encourage everybody that came to this session to look at the schedule. Over the next 2 days, there's a lot of good sessions. Now, maybe some people say, I don't need to go all those sessions. I'm this type of persona and I'm just looking at some of those sessions. But I encourage you, look through the agenda, attend as much as you want, because there's great stuff coming up after me today and tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Shane. Really appreciate it. And we'll have recordings of this later. So thanks so much. Cheers.
Yep. Bye.